excuse the noise, just be extremely noisy, this cutter. What I'm doing here, I'm making some stock to make some clamp or a dovetail that will fit in here, and it will have some screws that fit through the back of it and will pull this whole thing down against the body of the tool holder that I'm making for the gang tooling on the mill. There you get an idea of what I'm doing. I'm just preparing the stock for it, and then next process will be to use the dovetail cutter and put the dovetail in it. Well, this shows you the method I've used for attaching the cutting tools to the ends of my gang tooling posts or hangers, if you like. This is going to be two. I'll slice that in the middle, and I'll probably have a couple of holes for boring bars elsewhere or round tooling, but the bulk of my tooling is small stuff to go around these smaller tools. So basically all I've done is, if I come to this end, which isn't quite finished off yet, you will see that I've just milled a slot out in here 2 inches long and made a blank with a 60-degree dovetail on it, and this fits into the dovetail on the small size tool holders. And I've got 4 Allen screws which you can nip up to tighten them onto the back. These are flush, so I can mount. The idea behind my design is I can mount it on this face or this face here, the front face. You'll see more when I get finished. The next phase will be to square the ends off. Square the ends off this. That's already squared. Cut it in half, but also drill it and cross drill it for mounting both ways, and make it so I can adjust the height as well. I didn't design it this way, but it looks as though with some slightly longer screws in here I will also be able to adjust the height a little using these setups. It's a pretty rigid setup too. I mean, it really pulls those nice and tightly onto the bar. So the proof of the pudding will be when we try it out in the machine, and I'm sure it's going to be rigid enough. Certainly I've enjoyed making these things. I don't often make tooling, but when I do, I get a buzz out of it, you know. Well, the fruits of my labour are beginning to take shape now. Here's the first of the tool posts or tool holders on the gang tooling plate. You can see here I've got a boring bar mounted in it, and you can just make out the dovetail here. Basically this is pulled through by some Allen screws at the back. It draws this onto the face here, and my gang tooling tool holders, these can be rotated through 90 degrees, so you can use that for a turning tool or whatever. I'm also going to bore a hole in here and put this end, make it suitable for some Tormach type tooling with this type of adapter on it. Either going that way, well that way is too long, so I'll have to go that way. And what I'll do is I'll mount this plate when I've finished a few more of these, or the other two. I'll mount the plate on the mill, put the lathe on the bed, and the rapid turn on the mill bed, and use it to bore out the holes in here so that I know that they're in line with the axes of the lathe. So I'm really pleased with them. They've gone very well. Nice little job in conversational drilling of holes both ways. Pretty good. It's gone nicely, so I'm pleased with it. Well, we'll see how we get on with the other two. I've got enough material for one more after that, which I'll probably make kind of exclusively for Tormach tooling, but I'll decide on that. And then we've got a shot with the arm dropped by one bolt hole. As I say, I'm probably going to put another bolt hole up here Drop by another bolt hole, and as you can see there, I've got a tool mounted, a supporting tool mounted in the small tool holders, which fit quite nicely onto there, and very rigid. It's lovely, you know, it's a really nice setup. Hopefully when I get it all sorted, you know, fixed up, I'll be able to use it properly. That's the next challenge, of course, is learning how to use the rapid turn properly. But it's looking good. I'm really pleased with progress. Just in case you think, well, you're losing a bit of travel here, this plate, this front plate is removable, and also it can be, the quick change tool post from the lathe can actually be put in there too. So it's quite a versatile plate or setup. Well, I'm using Path Pilot, once again conversational, to drill the 3 holes, well 6 holes actually. I've already drilled 3 in this one, in this tool hanger. You can see it there, there's a 3 countersunk holes or counterboard. I'm going to do 3 along here. I've just used these coordinates for the 3 holes, very simple, and then manually run the counterbore. For those of you who followed my videos in the past, the noise has been tremendous in here due to the compressor. This is the latest compressor. It's right under the machine, and that's it pumping. As you hear, it's very quiet compared to the clatter that the other one made. What the deciding factor with me on that one was, I came into the garage to find a place full of smoke one evening. I'd forgotten to switch it off, and the cutout switch wasn't working, so it was constantly pumping up against the safety valve, and it just got hotter and hotter, and it melted all the paint off the fins of the cylinder, etc. So I decided enough was enough, and I had to invest in a rather large silent compressor, but it is good. It's so quiet, it's nice to work in now. So anyway, I've just got to set the height for the drill. Put number 8 in here, which is going to be my spotting drill number 8, and then I'll bring the tool down and just face it off against here, zero the Z axis, and set the job away. We'll film. Well, here we go. Let's hit the button, cycle start. Oh, it's given me a warning. Why? Oh, okay, clear error messages. And we'll try again. Hit the cycle start, and there we go. Not very fast. I don't know why. I need to look at the settings for the machine. I've just realised I've still got it in manual, so I'll switch that over and the coolant on, and we'll start again. That's better. It'll work this time. Bring that up to there. Probably splash the camera as soon as it starts. And that's the 3 spot holes done. Well, there's tool 9 in the spindle. Let's click the cycle start again, and away we go. So there we go. Now this will go through the previously drilled holes, so it makes a lot of noise as it goes through, but it does it quite well. It doesn't trouble it at all. It's quite a long, it's quite a deep hole to drill. So I've got it on 1/32 or 31 thou pex, and it goes through nicely. Well, I hope it does. It has on all the others. I'll keep filming until it goes through it breaks into the bore. You can hear it there, it's just starting to break through the bore. A lot depends on how accurate the alignment is when you turn the job over through the 90 degrees. The previous one I was well out. I don't know how I managed to do it, but I was probably about a quarter of an inch out, which made a huge difference to the drilling. It did it alright, but it's just annoying that it was so far out. That's more or less halfway through the hole. You can hear it starting to pick up on the other side now. It gets quite rattly, well not rattly, but you can hear it uneven cut. And then as it gets to the bottom of the hole, there you go, that's it, it's smoothing through. There we are. And it's got about another half an inch to go before it pops out through the bottom. So we'll follow that. You can see along the back here, they are the Allen cap screws that hold the taper, the dovetailed piece that grips the quick change tool force, or the quick change tool holders. Quite a reasonable idea, seems to be quite effective so far anyway. I haven't tried it in anger yet obviously, but I can see that they're gripping well, so I don't think I'll have any trouble. And that's the second hole in. Well, there you can see the 3 counterbore holes. I just used a large, I think it's an 18mm diameter end mill to do those. It's not an end mill, sorry, slot cutter. And it's the nice flat bottom thing, so that's a good counterbore. The next phase will be to clean up the mill, have a good clean down, and then fit the fixture plate onto the machine, take a few pictures for posterity, and also put the lathe on, because the next phase will be to bore some holes through from the lathe when it's set up true, so that I know that actually the holes that I'll use for instance the Tormach tooling will be in line with the lathe axes and square to everything. And I'll also reference mark each individual hanger, which point I do the holes from the lathe itself. So that'll be a bit of interesting work. And also I've got to figure out a means of clamping the spindles, these TTS systems. I've got an idea in my head, and we'll see if it works. If it works as well as the taper or this, I've forgotten what I call it now, this V-shaped block does for the quick change, then it'll be fine. Okay, well, what I'm doing at the moment is I am drilling one of these tool posts. Take an ER20 collet with a parallel shank, a 20mm parallel shank. I'm going to drill that through, and then I will put the boring head in the chuck and slowly open it out until it's the correct diameter. And then I will drill some through holes here to grip the collet holder, and that'll be another job done. But anyway, as you can see, rapid turn is making its own tool. Well, it's taken me all night to machine this, but it's a perfect fit in there now. I reamed that final size, and I'm well pleased with the result. Next thing will be to arrange some clamping screws through here and dress a flat on the spindle of this chuck, but that'll come. And I've got 2 of them, so I'll drill. I was going to put the 20mm on this end, but I got 2. I might even put one in this centre hole here, but we'll see. And I'll do another one up this end. Yeah, what I'm doing at the moment is putting just over a 5/8 wide slot in the end of one of these damn tool hangers, so that I can put various cutting tools mounted vertically in that. I've also cut across the back face here so that I can mount them horizontally as well on this tool holder. Here we are drilling the clamping holes, clamping them for an M8 clamping bolt in one of the tool hangers. Using conversational, there you can see the pattern. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and then back in the middle, then across to here 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, is it going to go? Yes, that's better. Even this one might be too long. Ah, goodness me. I'm going to turn off the camera and waste battery. Okay, well, I've got it fixed up here. You can see I've got 3 tools in here: boring bar, profiling tool, a parting off tool. And there's plenty of room here for, you know, quite large diameters, and there's still clearance under here with a boring bar on centre height with this set at a reasonably high altitude. You could always put another tool here to come down at right angles. There's possibilities all around. I'm just a little disappointed, well, more than a little, I'm really disappointed that this is too long, unfortunately, this way. However, I might investigate the possibility of putting the lathe just across one if need be. I wouldn't do it if I couldn't get away with the tooling, with enough tooling in here. Then I would try to move this over by another 2 inches, and that way I think I would probably have some useful ability of the front plate other than this sort of arrangement here with a tool. Obviously a parting tool here you'd have to run in reverse to part, but you know, CNC, it's, you just tell it to run backwards and do what you want it to do. So I don't think that's going to be a great problem, and it's so rigid, it's really good. It's far better than the original equipment, that's for sure, and I'm really quite pleased with it. It seems to be quite good. The tool holders are very effective. I mean, they're only small tools, but it's a small lathe, and it's, you know, they're very rigid. So I'll try it out. I'll start playing with it eventually, and I'll figure something out. But to do, well, I've got a few jobs that I want to do, otherwise I wouldn't have made the plate. So I'll be trying my best to do something practical with it, and I will post on YouTube. Okay, this gives you a better idea of the tool holders and the clamping mechanism. Here, I'll just take this one out. I haven't finished all of these yet, but I thought I would try and show you one. Here you see that comes out now, and I can push it. I can push this out from that side. That'll give you an idea of what they're like. There you go, that's the clamping mechanism there. You can see the half round there, and the section there. They clamp on either side of the tooling, like this. If I put one in here, hopefully it'll go in. It should do. Now you can see the clamp in place. One of them, I'll push the tooling in and slowly draw this up, and it should clamp the tool successfully. I'm surprised how effective these are. You may end up, you know, they may end up rotating a little, but I don't think they're too bad. As you can see, these are quite wide up spaced. The reason for that is that they were, and there we see, I can pick that up quite steadily. I've had a spanner on the flats of these and put a hefty turn on, and, you know, a hefty bit of torque on, and it didn't want to turn, so they'd be rigid enough to snap a small drill, that's for sure, if you got a bite to dig in. So I'm quite happy with that. It depends, I don't think they're that accurate in terms of centre height, but they'd be great for holding small boring bars and that type of thing, or even the odd end mill for short work. Any short work would be fine even with a drill with those. These holes here, the larger holes at the bottom and top, were bored out in situ using the lathe itself on centre, so I know that those in their marked positions will be accurate. So that's the gang tooling almost complete. What I'll do is now set it up, well, finish off these few buttons or clamps, whatever I want to call them, and then I'll set it up and you can see what it looks like. Well, I reckon I've finished my gang tooling setup. Made quite a few of these hangers or whatever they are, risers, or there would be risers on a proper gang tooling lathe, but with this being a milling machine it's slightly different. But I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 of them. Give you an idea of what they're capable of. If you look here closely, you can see a dovetail insert, and these are, I think they're 000 tool holders. The ones that come with the original tool post with the rapid turn that attaches to the column here. Of course, they're not very rigid, those things, but this is so rigid it's really good. I can adjust for height on that if I want to. As you can see, I've still got this capability to attach a tool to it. It's just a case of slackening off 3 or 4 Allen screws. I've only got them all very lightly nipped up here. But you slacken these few screws and you can then slide the tool in and out, as you can see. I didn't realise it went in from the top too. But that gives you an idea there, and I can assure you when it's nipped up it is very rigid. I'll just nip that top one a little. Oop. I've never even tightened on it, I'm just going to hold the camera a bit awkwardly, and there we go. That's it nipped up roughly where it was before. Each hole means I can set these risers at different heights if I want to. This is also height adjustable, and on the other side here you can't, in fact not on this one, but this one's also bored to take a pretty large chuck, a 5/8 chuck, which could come in handy for boring out various a hole prior to enlarging it using a larger drill, if the machine will take it. You can see here I've got a centre drill set in this one. These 3 holes here grip the TTS system. There's my drill chuck. Okay, at the moment there's not much clearance there, but centre drill for this size of diameter, certainly enough room to centre it, and then through drill if I wanted to. In the middle I've got my parting tool, and on the back there, profiling tool. Now then, these are the small tool holders, but I've also, just by swapping out the insert here, I can put large tool holders from my big lathe in here if I wanted to, if I do it on TV, on camera. There we go. I think that'll get it in there just about anyway. But these you get the point. These things slide onto there, and you tighten the 4 screws at the back, and that nips them in place, and it nips them in really firmly. Beautiful. Also, I don't know if I've got one of the spare tools in it somewhere. I've got another holder that takes some of these. I would show you how these clamps work. Sorry, I'm terrible for not looking where I'm pointing the camera. These holes here are for clamps that hold any of the TTS tooling. Also, these risers can be turned and hung from the other end, so you've got a choice of positions. Also, I have definitely got another one. Here we go. This one here, which is again equipped to take TTS tooling. The nice thing about that is you can put things like boring bars in it without any problem. Centre drills. You could even make up some lathe turning tools out of circular bar if you wanted and put them in there. I'm not even sure if you can't get different shaped collets for these. Probably not. I know you can for 5C stuff. But anyway, these things, these clamps, I'll show you one how they work, and they're very effective because I tighten that up against the spanner flats to put the tool in. But if I slacken this off, just one, two turns each, and maybe a little more on that one. Because I'm working single-handed here, and it pulls out. As you can see, it comes out easily.